What's up, guys? I'm Corey, this is Christian, and we are Super Kami Guru 9000, and we are going to review the very first episode of the brand new Chunin Exam arc from Naruto Shippuden. And you know what? The first episode was kind of disappointing, and I didn't want to build it up too much, and maybe I did. I was really excited for this arc. It looks like the next one's going to be more interesting because they're actually introducing new characters, but this first episode right here is pure setup. They're just setting up the fact that the Chunin Exams are going to be in Hidden Sand Village, which honestly, I think is awesome because it's going to mix things up and we're going to see a brand new environment. And it's basically Tsunade the Hokage sending out messages to all the other villages to bring them together so that they can keep tabs on them and so that they can look out for Akatsuki. And that's pretty much the whole episode.
And I was just really hoping for more, but I think anime is really good at doing the setups.
Yes.
The setups is a big thing that anime does. You don't always get fights. You don't always get, like, epic speeches before going into battle. This time you got Hogwarts Hawks landing and Hokages and all the Kages just being like, nah, I'm not coming. Okay, I'll come, you know, and then a few jokes thrown in there. You had a bee joke. You had the old man breaking his back again, you know. You had all that stuff that makes those characters what we know and love.
But it's also, like, stuff that, like, we didn't really need. It was basically just like, oh, you remember this character? You remember his old character trope? I love that you brought up Inoki because the minute he got up in his chair, I'm like, his back's gonna break, his back's gonna break, his back's gonna break, his back's gonna break. Boom! His back broke. It was not that funny.
He stepped on a piece of paper.
Yeah, I know. That's what actually broke his back. That seems a little, you know,
well, let's be honest. He's not breaking his back. He's more like pinching a nerve or something. We don't have to get all technical with the back pain. But yeah, he's got a bad back. Yeah. One of the things that I actually did find interesting is more so than the Chunin Exam. Sorry, Corey. The Chunin Exam in and of itself does not interest me.
Okay.
The politics behind the scenes do, though. Like with
I'm the opposite.
Yeah. Gaara wanting to disband all the rebels that don't like him and him wanting to prove his place. And let's be honest, it makes that House of Cards is way more interesting than them testing their abilities throwing.
Why aren't they throwing shuriken at each other's faces? Why aren't they fighting yet? All right, I get where you're coming from. There is some interesting things about the politics behind all of this, but the only thing is it's a prequel arc. So we know what's going to happen later on. We know that eventually Gaara is going to have Shukaku extracted from him. We know that some of the people that work under him, like Yora, are actually under Sasori's control. So there's not a lot of mystery there. A lot of the mystery is going to come from all these brand new characters from villages, which frankly don't have a lot of face time in Naruto. If you actually look for the preview of next week's episode, Fu, the Seven Tails Jinchuriki, is going to be in this arc. And I think that's really interesting because, again, that's going to bring in that whole Akatsuki angle, and this could open up a lot of possibilities for some really cool action scenes.
I think that that's actually where the highest hope I have for this arc is because we know she gets captured. We never saw her get captured, right? We never really saw it. So maybe that's what this could, like, you know, in a more serious fashion. Besides them training in these competitions where they're not going to die, you know, let's see the Jinchuriki get captured. I think that that's one of the more interesting things. Just like when the Six Tails got captured by Pain. And also, we never even mentioned it, the Kakashi and the Hidden Rain stuff.
That is an interesting thing. There's this whole other little subplot where Kakashi's going to Hidden Rain thanks to Tsunade, and we don't really know what he's going to do, but if you look at the preview of the episode, it's pretty obvious that he's going to have a run-in with Pain. And this is interesting because I was just under the impression that when he ran into him, you know, during the whole Invasion Pain arc, that he'd never seen him before, and he might not even really see him, you know. This might be just a quick glimpse he gets of him and he doesn't really get to confront
feel his presence or something, you know.
And it is interesting to note, and they do bring it up in this episode, and, you know, I'm not the biggest expert on, like, the timeline of Naruto. This takes place, like, 2 years after Naruto's been training, but even Hanzo apparently is still in charge of Hidden Rain Village. Which would mean that Pain hasn't actually confronted him yet and gone through his whole crazy Ghetto Mazu exploding out of the ground and stabbing him in the back thing. Like, apparently that hasn't happened yet.
Or Pain hasn't let the world know that he's in charge of the Hidden Rain.
I think that's more of a possibility.
I think, Tsunade even mentioned, there's rumors of a coup d'etat over there. So maybe
either that's referring to the fact that, you know, Pain's already taken over, or he's just getting ready to.
Yeah. So that whole village is interesting, and we don't know much about it, and I think it's interesting that Kakashi's there. I think that and the political stuff and the Jinchuriki stuff is the most interesting. The Chunin in and of itself is not interesting me that much because the war was way more interesting, and we had to get pulled away from the war to go here, and I'm not that happy about it.
And there is one thing that I'm really bugged about, and I mentioned this when we were watching it, and that's that the intro is still the same. It's the same song, it's the same imagery. And all of the imagery is stuff that we've already seen and stuff that's been concluded in the story. And this would have been a good opportunity to create some brand new visual imagery for this brand new arc, even if they just reuse the song, because the song's only been going on for about 15 episodes, and usually they go on for about 25. But I don't know how long this Chunin Exam arc is going to be, if they're going to drag it out long, but I thought it would have been a good idea, you know, maybe animate the new characters, put them in the intro, because there's going to be a lot of new characters. They've shown a lot of the sketches for 6 brand new characters who are going to be introduced in this arc, although technically 3 of them are people who have appeared in the original Chunin Exam, but they had pretty much 0 dialogue, so I can't wait to see what they're going to do with them. Really, this was just a setup episode. It was very average in the animation, in the artwork, the storytelling, but I'm still pumped up. I'm really excited for this Chunin Exam. It's going to be in the Desert of Death, and I think that's going to be really awesome, and I can't wait to see if they're going to mix up the whole Chunin Exams, because in the original, the first they had the written test, then they had the Forest of Death, and then they just went into the Budokai Tenkaichi tournament, and I hope they do that again. I really want to see more tournament arcs with all these new characters. So for me personally, this was an average episode that had a lot of decent setup. It wasn't all that great, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
I am just going to give it a 2 out of 5 because the promise of better stuff coming does not save this episode for me. I think that, and it was just a lot of setup, and also, I was sad that a lot of our characters that we know and like in the current arc are not going to be participating in this arc because they tore up their invitations and they don't really want to come. Well, maybe B is going to show up anyway.
You know, before we go, I do want to bring this up. I do think that it is interesting. There could be this whole other subplot where the Raikage and Hidden Cloud Village don't want to get involved in this exam, but Killer B is going to do everything in his power to go to Konoha Village because he thinks there's some sort of concert going down, and he thinks he's going to get ready to party, and I just have a feeling that's going to be maybe like a comedy subplot, and it might even get him involved with another battle with an Akatsuki member. Like, I think that would be really cool, just the prospect of seeing Killer B fight against another member of Akatsuki, because that's something we honestly never really seen, aside from, you know, the whole Sasuke thing.
Him, like, smack one around real quick.
Yeah, that would be so awesome. You know, can you imagine, like, Hidan Kakuzu versus Killer B just out of nowhere? I know it wouldn't make sense at all, but it would just be really cool to see. Like, that's the reason why I think this is still a decent episode. There's so many possibilities for this one. Although I do agree, whenever I do pick this one up on DVD, it's probably one that I'm going to fast forward through.
Yeah, just go to the next episode, because we know what the beginning of the arc is. Also, I did like the stuff with Naruto at the beginning. I'm glad they touched on that. They didn't just say, oh, he's still off training. They showed you, and then they, you know, but this arc isn't about him. But I'm glad they got him out of the way. So 2 out of 5 for me, 3 out of 5 for Corey. Thank you guys so much for watching our review today. If you want, please check us out on Facebook and Twitter. All that's in the description box below. We also have an Amazon Associates link, so if you check that out and buy anything through Amazon with that link, it helps us out. Thank you guys for that. We also have a PayPal donation button if you're interested. It really helps us all out. We have this studio and all this awesome stuff, and it's all because of you guys, and we couldn't be more thankful. So until next time, Super Kami Guru 9000 out.